Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, June 27, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the that's been like in your ear recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future weather in your specific area. Alright, so taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that came out at 7:32 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:32 p.m. Jamaica time. We still have that area that's now across portions of Central America that has a low chance of tropical cyclone formation within the next 7 days across the southwestern Gulf. And we can see the clouds, showers, and thunderstorms associated with it, especially across Central America right here. They're definitely getting nailed. Lots of bad weather out there for sure. We see it all even better on the infrared. Look at the close-up. All of these yellows, oranges, reds, deep convection, especially across the Yucatan Peninsula, sections of northern Guatemala, Belize. They're definitely getting nailed as we speak. We also see a lot of deep convection across portions of Honduras, El Salvador, and western Nicaragua. And we even see a lot of convection associated with that other system on the eastern Pacific side that has a chance of development right here as it brushes the Mexican coast. According to the Hurricane Center, let us read what they've stated. A broad area of low pressure centered over the southwestern Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico is producing a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms over the Yucatan Peninsula and the adjacent waters. This system should emerge over the Bay of Campeche later tonight, and some development is possible on Saturday and Sunday if the low remains over water. By Sunday, the system should move inland over eastern Mexico, ending its chances of additional development. Regardless of development, locally heavy rains are possible over portions of Belize, Guatemala, and southeastern Mexico during the next few days. An Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft is scheduled to investigate the system on Saturday if necessary. And we see that they've given the system a 30% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 30% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. Very interesting. And we know the next name on the list after Andrea is going to be Barry. So let us see if we actually get Barry out of this. However, on the eastern Pacific side of things, we're still watching that area. We saw the showers and the thunderstorms associated with it to the southeast of Mexico right here. Let us read what the Hurricane Center has stated. Showers and thunderstorms associated with a broad area of low pressure located a few hundred miles south of the Gulf of Tehuantepec remain disorganized. Environmental conditions, however, are forecast to become more conducive for development during the next day or two, and a tropical depression is expected to form by late this weekend or early next week while the system moves slowly west-northwestward off the coast of southern Mexico. And we see that they've given the system a 60% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 90% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. So it looks like it could definitely acquire the next name on the list, which will be Flossie. On the western Pacific side of things, the Joint Typhoon Warning Center is no longer watching much of anything. That code yellow that we saw, it seems like it vanished. Tropical depressions moved inland. Tropical depressions definitely dissipated. Nothing really taking place over there. We see the infrared right here. Nothing really taking place at all. Western Pacific sleeping at this time. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see the ridges of high pressure right here to the north that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds as well as the tropical waves from east to west across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can see that tropical wave that's currently lashing portions of Central America, a tropical wave right here to the east of the Caribbean extending down to northeastern South America, another tropical wave right here, right maybe close to the middle right here of the main development region, equidistant from Africa and the eastern Caribbean. But we can also see another tropical wave right here off the coast of Africa. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can kind of make out all of these entities. First of all, the clouds associated with the tropical wave that's currently lashing portions of Central America. Another set of clouds right here associated with another tropical wave right here pushing into the eastern Caribbean. There is supposedly another tropical wave somewhere in here and another tropical wave that just exited the coast of Africa. And we can definitely make out that low level flow of the clouds being steered from east to west, all courtesy of the ridges of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Friday, June 27, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast for parts of eastern, northern, and western parishes during the afternoon on Friday. And we know eastern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland. And not really much took place today. Nothing was posted at all. I mean, look at the visible satellite images. Just some upper level clouds being pushed off to the south. Maybe some isolated shores passing to the south of St. Thomas. That was basically it. Nothing really took place today. So that forecast that the models were making was quite the bust. These things can happen. The models aren't 100% accurate all the time. And especially given that we have a lot of Saharan dust in the atmosphere, it's definitely drying out all of the moisture, making it harder for it to rain. So it is understandable that we didn't get in on much in the way of a rainfall. But that could change. That could definitely change shortly, because some moisture is about to push in right behind the Saharan dust. Gonna be talking about that shortly, but let us see what's taking place right now according to the latest still image from the Weather News website. The latest still image is showing 0135 UTC, which is actually around, hold on, okay, yeah, the latest still image. As a matter of fact, before we even show the latest still image, let us see what took place today on the camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel. A bit windy in downtown Kingston at around 3:09 p.m. Nothing significant taking place. People in their vehicles going about their business. We can even see some people right here enjoying the nice cool breeze for sure. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at that time. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit C Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams for your viewing pleasure, all for free. So just go over to YouTube, type in C Jamaica, and you'll see this all right here. Even the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours is confirming that we didn't receive much in the way of anything across the island today. Look how white it is. Dry for sure, not much in the way of rainfall anywhere. Alright, so let's go back to the latest still image now. Let us see what's happening right now. So we can see as of 0145 UTC, which is actually 8:45 p.m. So this just came out 8 minutes ago, considering that it is 8:53 p.m. right now. We're not seeing much of anything, just some white shades, some high cirrus clouds, some blues into the greens, same thing. Nothing significant in terms of rainfall taking place. Let's reload the latest Cuban Doppler radar, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, the latest Cayman radar to confirm all of this. The latest Cuban Doppler radar not really showing much of anything in terms of rainfall at all across Jamaica, but this was at around 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 5:30 a.m. Jamaica time. So I guess it glitched out again for the millionth time. The Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, on the other hand, not really showing much of anything across northeastern Jamaica. Not really seeing much of anything across southeastern Cuba, the western peninsula of Haiti. Well, at least some isolated shores here and there. Nothing significant at all. The Cayman radar also showing the same. Not really much of anything taking place right now. Even the live camera here from Sea Jamaica's YouTube channel showing the Bogwalk Gorge in St. Catherine. People driving about on the flat bridge going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at all. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Saturday, temperature should dip down to about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Saturday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Saturday, and we can see Jamaica right here shaded in some slight blue shades, some slight blue colors. That, as we know from the key on the right, represents at least 1 degree Celsius below normal. And we know the normal temperature for the month of June across Jamaica is around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, when thus converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that is around 32.2 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31.2 to 32.2 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Saturday. And unfortunately, we have at least one maintenance outage advisor here from my JPS Online's Twitter page, and we know that we have to highlight these maintenance outages because that one we don't have electricity to power our fan or AC. Boy, the temperatures are ridiculous at that time. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Saturday, June 28, 2025. We're referring to Crescent Park, Moneague, Faith Spin, Phoenix Park, Ty Dixon, as well as Rearfield, all in the parish of St. Mary from 10:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. Dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest part of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of keeping hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water, and even if you're not thirsty, drink the water too, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and whites within those rays. And we can see a lot of dry air across the main development region, a lot of dry air across the northern portion of the North Atlantic over here. See a lot of dry air across portion of the Caribbean too. But what we like to see is the blues across portion of the southwestern Atlantic, the western Caribbean, the Gulf, the eastern Pacific, as well as the intertropical convergence zone. We like to see the blues because that when we're seeing the blues, it is significant in that we don't have much in the way of dry air, and we see a lot more clouds in those areas that we have the moist air for sure. And that's what we want, so that we get more rainfall to keep water in our pipes. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast, so today is June 27, heading into June 28, as you can see, we're getting on more blues. June 29, something similar. June 30, a bit of Saharan dust returning. That plume that is going to be across the Windward and Leeward Islands should be pushing west. So by June 30, it's back a bit, but not that vigorous at all like what we see here, pushing off of Africa with those reddish, pinkish shades. So we like that we're seeing more in the way of those greenish, yellowish shades. So you know that it's not that vigorous, but it can definitely trigger respiratory illnesses in some persons. And I'm pretty sure that the fact that we're going to be getting on more moist air on Saturday into Sunday, there could definitely be an increase in the rainfall across sections of the island. So it's going to be making sense. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, still seeing that the highest waves are to the south of Jamaica, to the east of the Caribbean, wherever we have the dark blues into the purples and the pinks. That represents anywhere from 2 to 2.5 major wave heights, and that's because of the winds that are expected. We clearly see that strong easterly flow across the Caribbean, kind of even looks more east-northeasterly-ish, heading towards Nicaragua. And we see a mixture of the bright greens into the yellows that represents anywhere from 20 to 25 knots right here, especially to the south of Jamaica, so it makes sense that the highest waves are down there. But regarding a close-up, to the north of Portland, up to 1.5 meter wave heights expected. To To the north of St. Anne, 1.4 meter wave height. To the north of Hanover, 1.1. To the south of Westmoreland, 0.8 of a meter wave height. To the south of St. Elizabeth, 1.2 meter wave height. To the south of St. Catherine, 1.4 meter wave height. To the south of St. Thomas, 1.8 meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected. We can clearly see more of a northeasterly or east-northeasterly kind of flow on the north coast. So that could mean some morning rainfall on the north coast. On the south coast, it looks more easterly. And look at where the air should be piling up. It kind of seems like it's going to be more so on the south side, if not the central and western side. Wouldn't be surprised. There's definitely going to be rainfall tomorrow for sure. That's where the air is going to be piling up. Across sections of some maybe central and western parishes, maybe southern and western parishes. For sure, that's where we're going to be having those low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds, and if they even get up into the upper levels of the atmosphere, the cloud tops are going to be sheared off towards the southeast by that upper-level wind shear. So it's definitely going to be favoring more of that rainfall on the south coast for sure. And we have the rainfall forecast maps right here confirming this. First of all, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 8 a.m. Jamaica time. And what do both maps show? Well, the Euro is showing the blues represent rainfall out to sea, not really on land, to the north of the north coast. The GFS has some of this rainfall at the same time across sections of some northern parishes, like sections of coastal St. James, coastal Trelawney, coastal St. Anne, coastal St. Mary. And we also see the consensus for the rainfall out east, maybe eastern St. Thomas, eastern Portland, getting in on some of the action as you can see here. Very interesting. Then it is by the afternoon now, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. And the thing is, it could definitely start sooner than this. So don't take my word for it that it's going to be starting at 3. It could start sooner than this. Look at the blues that represent rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. We see that for sure, and it seems to be more so biased across the south coast. So I guess we're getting a change in the pattern. Finally. It's been the north coast getting everything. So it seems like we're going to be getting a change. So it's going to be eastern, central, and western parishes, and especially southern parishes during the afternoon hours, and we're indeed grateful for that. Even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in agreement that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. Both the Euro and the GFS are adamant that it's the southeast that's going to be getting in on the brunt of the rainfall. The Euro going up to 0.18 of an inch of rainfall in the Kingston and St. Andrew Euro, up to 0.3 of an inch of rainfall in the far east. GFS showing something similar with the locations, but the rainfall total only up to at least 0.15 of an inch of rainfall. Whatever happens, we'll definitely take it because we're in the month of June. And in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive around 110 millimeters of rainfall for the month. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive around this is 6.5 inches of rainfall for the month of June. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit hold on. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of June or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com. So I was plugging the wrong place, not See Jamaica, but weatherandclimate.com. They'll definitely show you charts like this, bar graphs with rainfall in your parish, both in millimeters and inches. If you don't know what those mean, well, you know, the rainfall that's recorded on the rain gauge are recorded in millimeters and inches. And the equivalent of 1 inch is about 25 millimeters of rainfall. So you can do the calculation to yourself. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us, according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next one, John 68 hours. That's the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so we just looked at Saturday's forecast. Now it's time to look at Sunday. 7 a.m., 12Z, 7 a.m., don't see much of anything across Jamaica. Do see a lot of moisture across the southwestern Gulf and the waters to the south of Mexico, though. Very interesting. And then on Sunday afternoon, look at that. Eastern, central, western parishes with that rainfall. What does the GFS show? Sunday morning, maybe some isolated showers across the east or the north of the island. Then on Sunday afternoon, it's more so western parishes getting on that afternoon rainfall. That's what Monday morning is showing. On Monday morning, we see rainfall across the eastern end of the island. On Monday afternoon, we see rainfall across eastern, central, western parishes. Let us see what the GFS shows. Monday morning, rainfall across the eastern end. Monday afternoon, rainfall across the eastern, northern, and western parishes. Let us see what Tuesday morning is showing. On Tuesday morning, maybe some isolated showers out east. On Tuesday afternoon, not really showing much of anything. Let's see what the GFS shows. Tuesday morning, not really much of anything at all. By the way, it's noteworthy of possible flossy hugging the coast of Mexico over there. The Euro not showing it, definitely off screen. Very interesting. We'll see all of that unfolds. Either way, that is what is being shown for Tuesday afternoon. Not really much of anything across Jamaica. Let's see what Wednesday morning is showing. On Wednesday morning, maybe some isolated showers out east. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Let us see what the GFS is showing. Wednesday morning, maybe some isolated showers out east. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across central and western parishes. Let us see what Thursday morning is showing. On Thursday morning, not really showing much. Thursday afternoon, not really showing much either. Definitely dry times coming up next week for sure. Goodness. We're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Friday, July 4, 2025. Don't see much of anything across Jamaica. We do see some isolated showers to the south of Puerto Rico, though, across the eastern portion of the Nicaragua area. That's what the GFS shows. Thursday morning, rainfall to the north of Jamaica. Thursday afternoon, maybe some rainfall out west. We also see some moisture across the eastern Caribbean. Interesting. And we're stopping it right here as well. The end of the 168 hours, clearly not really seeing much. Maybe some rain across the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, but that's basically it. And in terms of the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps, both maps right here from there and the GFS are adamant that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be wherever we have the dark reds into the purples and the pinks. That, as we know, represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to maybe 5 inches of rainfall. We're talking about section of Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, section of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador getting on the brunt of that. That could trigger somewhat of isolated flash flooding, but they're used to it. While the other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds that represent at least up to 1 inch of rainfall or less. Areas like the Bahamas, the Greater Antilles, and the Lesser Antilles for sure. And we see that both the Euro and the DFS models are in agreement with that rainfall forecast total for the next 7 days. But regarding Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation, we see a bit of difference in what's expected, a bit of a difference. The Euro and the GFS are both showing that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be across the far eastern end. The Euro going up to at least 47 millimeters of rainfall. The GFS in the greens maybe up to at least 20 millimeters of rainfall. We also see the central western section of the island shaded in blues and greens, so there could definitely be some isolated rainfall during the afternoon over the next 7 days. Now, whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted. Taking a look at the rest of the Caribbean, the rest of the basin, as stated, we have some low to mid-level clouds pushing through the Caribbean with some rainfall, the clouds associated with that tropical wave lashing portion of the Western Caribbean and Central America as we speak. The clouds associated with the other tropical wave about to nail portion of the Eastern Caribbean. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images, let us see what's taking place down here. You can actually make out the moisture that is currently passing through portions of Puerto Rico. We see some of the moisture to the east of Antigua and Barbuda. Guadeloupe, Dominica getting in on some of the hit or miss isolated light to moderate rainfall, maybe even some heavy rainfall within there. Noting these images from earlier today, we definitely saw that rainfall across eastern, central, and western Puerto Rico. And if we zoom in a bit, the Barbados radar. Look at the rainfall pushing through. A lot of moisture associated with that tropical wave. A lot of heat or mist showers, blues, greens, yellows, light to moderate to heavy rainfall for sure, especially in the yellows. We see a lot of that coming through into portion of Barbados. Most of it to the east of Martinique, but Dominica already getting in on their fair share of rainfall. Northern Martinique got in on some of that earlier. Section of St. Lucia, section of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada next. Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago already getting in on some of that moisture with more to come. And regarding the weather via Doppler radar images, we can actually see that rainfall across sections of the Yucatan, section of northern Guatemala, Belize, section of Honduras, Colombia, northeastern Venezuela and Florida getting on some of the action. And we can clearly see where the brunt of the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours. Both maps right here from the year and the GFS are adamant. And the most rainfall should be across the eastern Caribbean, the Leeward Islands, the Windward Island, sections of the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago. We also see rainfall expected for portions of French Guyana, Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, sections of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan getting on some of the action as well. Even section of Florida, and we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.